It wasn't a dramatic confession on a stage or a headline designed to shock the world. It was quieter than that, more personal, more reflective, the kind of moment where someone looks back at their own life and decides it's time to be honest. And when Andrew Lloyd Webber opened up about his struggles with drinking, it didn't just reveal a problem. It revealed a story that many people didn't see coming. Because behind the music, the success, and the global recognition, there was a side of his life that had remained largely hidden. Now imagine being at the very top of your field, creating some of the most iconic musical productions in the world, shaping theater history, and carrying the weight of constant expectations. From masterpieces like The Phantom of the Opera to Cats, Andrew Lloyd Webber built a legacy that few can match. But success at that level often comes with pressure that doesn't always disappear when the curtain falls. As he reflected on his past, the conversation turned towards something more personal. Drinking, which for many can start as a casual habit, slowly became something more significant in his life. Not necessarily overnight, but gradually, almost quietly. And that's what makes stories like this so relatable. Problems don't always arrive in obvious ways. Sometimes they build over time, hidden behind routine and normalcy. When his comments began circulating, people reacted in different ways. Some were surprised, finding it hard to connect the image of a world-renowned composer with personal struggles like this. Others, however, saw something deeper, a reminder that no matter how successful someone appears, they are still human, still dealing with challenges that aren't always visible. What makes this revelation powerful isn't just the admission itself, but the honesty behind it. Speaking openly about something like a drinking problem requires a level of vulnerability that many people struggle to show, especially in the public eye. And for someone of his stature, that kind of openness carries even more weight. It also opens up a broader conversation about the pressures of creative industries. The world of theater, music, and performance is often intense, demanding, and emotionally charged. Long hours, constant deadlines, and the need to consistently deliver excellence can take a toll over time. And sometimes, people turn to coping mechanisms, some healthier than others. For Andrew Lloyd Webber, this seems to have been part of a larger journey of self-awareness. Recognizing a problem is never easy. It involves looking at your own habits, your own choices, and acknowledging that something needs to change. And while the details of his experience may be personal, the underlying message resonates far beyond his own story. Fans and followers have responded with a mix of support and reflection. Many appreciate his honesty, seeing it as a moment of real connection. Others have shared their own experiences, turning the conversation into something more collective, less about one person, and more about a shared understanding of struggle and growth. At the same time, it's important to remember that opening up doesn't necessarily mean everything is resolved. It's part of a process, a step toward change, not the final destination. And that process looks different for everyone. There's also something to be said about how public figures choose to share their stories. In a world where image is often carefully managed, moments of honesty stand out. They break through the polished surface and reveal something real. And that authenticity is what people connect with the most. Looking back at his career, it's clear that Andrew Lloyd Webber has experienced incredible highs. His work has touched millions, his music has become timeless, and his influence on theater is undeniable. But this new perspective adds another layer to his story, one that isn't about success or achievement, but about personal experience and growth. It also challenges the way we think about success. From the outside, it's easy to assume that achievement brings stability, happiness, and control. But stories like this remind us that life is more complex than that. Success doesn't eliminate challenges. It just changes the context in which they exist. As the conversation continues, people are beginning to see this moment not as a scandal, but as a reflection, a chance to understand that even those at the top have their own battles, their own struggles, and their own journeys towards self-improvement. And perhaps that's the most important takeaway. Not the problem itself, but the willingness to talk about it. Because in doing so, it creates space for others to do the same. It turns a personal experience into something that can inspire awareness, understanding, and even change. Of course, there will always be different reactions. Some will focus on the revelation itself, others on the broader implications. But what remains consistent is the impact of honesty. It shifts the narrative from perfection to reality, from image to truth. As time goes on, this moment may become just one chapter in a much larger story. A story that continues to evolve, shaped by both professional achievements and personal experiences. And in many ways, that's what makes it meaningful. Because behind every iconic figure is a human story, one that includes not just success, but struggle, reflection, and growth. So as people continue to discuss this revelation, one question quietly lingers. Does opening up about challenges like this change how we see someone? Or does it simply help us understand them better?